Let's talk about the waveforms on the Q169 Oscillator++ module. And we have two oscillators here, and each one has a selectable waveform. And these are your traditional waveforms: sine, triangle, pulse, sawtooth, and an anti-sine and noise. We're going to go through these one at a time. So let's look at the sine wave on the first oscillator. We're just going to deal with the first one. And we're going to take an output here, and we're going to listen to it. And we have to turn up our amplitude. And we can see our sine wave there. And we're going to go ahead and get a gate and pitch so that we can experiment with this. There's pitch, and here's gate. So we're going to trigger our envelope generator so we can look at our waveforms. And to do that, to control from the gate, we're going to turn our amp all the way up, and we're going to flip the switch for amplitude down to the envelope generator. So the envelope generator will control our amplitude. So our sine wave is a nice pure tone. And then we go to our triangle wave, which is like the sine. It's very smooth. Okay, the next one is pulse, and we have control over the pulse width with the PWM knob. And when we're in the middle position here, that means the knob controls the pulse width. So this pulse width goes from 50% to 0. And if you want to modulate that, then you switch up here to LFO. Okay, now the next waveform is a sawtooth. So it has a different set of harmonics. And if you'll notice on the sawtooth, the symbol here shows two peaks, and that's because the sawtooth is twice the frequency of the other waveforms. Now, if you want a ramp waveform, which is the opposite of that, then flip your invert switch. They'll sound the same, but when you're using it for modulation, it will act differently. Now, the next waveform I really like, this is called, I call it anti-sine. And it's sort of like the inverse of a sine wave. Technically, it's not that, but that's what I call it. How I do this in the circuit is I start out with a sine wave and I subtract the triangle wave from it. So if you'll think about a straight line going up here for a triangle wave, and you subtract what a sine would be, then you would get this anti-sine. And it has a different set of harmonics and filters nicely, so consider using it. It's it's more peaky than your traditional triangle wave. So it has some more higher harmonics. So the next waveform is the internal noise source. And the noise source has bleed through from the oscillators. That's just the way it is. You can also listen to a noise source on oscillator 1 while you're listening to pitch on oscillator 2. And of course, you can modulate with the noise just like you can with all of the waveforms. And we'll do that here. So there's pitch modulation for oscillator number 2, driven by the noise source. Okay, there's an overview of the waveforms on the Q169 Oscillator++. Enjoy.